Hey everyone, Jason here, digital marketing consultant, and in this Google Ads Keyword Planner video, we're gonna be going through a dead simple process for finding your most profitable keywords for your PPC campaigns or for your SEO optimized blog posts. Now, unlike some other tutorials you may have seen in the past for Keyword Planner, we're not gonna dive into all of the features Keyword Planner has to offer us. Instead, we're gonna 80-20 this process and hone in on a few powerful features and key metrics to look at to find your most profitable keywords. Now, if you're just getting started with Google PPC, make sure you check out the link in the description to a full video on how to get up and running with Google Ads profitably the first time. And if you're doing SEO, make sure you check out the link in the description to how to get Google Analytics installed properly on your WordPress site. So with that, before we dive into my screen here and we walk through how to use it, there is one key to remember as we go through this entire process. And that is to remember that every keyword we look at is a representation of a person who has a question. They want information. And this is where user intent is so important. So just because a keyword looks great from a technical standpoint, the impressions look good, or maybe the cost per click looks good, maybe the SEO competition is super low, doesn't necessarily mean we should jump on the keyword. Now, more on that in a bit, but it's important to remember as we dive in. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into my screen and I'll walk you through the entire process.
And step number one is, of course, navigating to Keyword Planner. If you don't already have a Google Ads account, all you need to do is Google search Google Ads and you'll be able to set one up for free. It will ask you to enter payment information, but you're going to want to do that in order to get some of this data. So we went up to Tools and we just clicked on Keyword Planner, where we will have the option to resume a plan if we've been playing with anything in the past, find keywords, or get search volume and forecasts. The search volume and forecasts is what you can do after you already have your keywords. Here we're actually going to be looking for our keywords, so we'll go ahead and click Find Keywords, and then we'll be able to start typing in our keywords. So here what you want to do is choose 2 to 3 keywords that best represent the product or service you're promoting if you're doing pay-per-click, or best represent the type of blog post that you're going to write if you're doing SEO. Here, I'm going to skip ahead, and for this example, I'm going to be trying to sell pay-per-click services. So I'll type in Google Ads Management, I'll try PPC Management Agency, and let's try lead generation services. Go ahead and click enter, and then we'll search. And we'll talk in a little bit why I chose these specific keywords. So to just a brief overview, there are only a couple things we really need to make sure that we have in our settings correctly. Number one is location. So if you're a particular zip code, state, or region, this is where you're going to want to adjust that. So you're looking at the proper numbers. This is mostly if you're doing pay-per-click. Make sure the English is correct and make sure search networks is on Google. You don't want search partners because that's just going to muck up our data. Now, scrolling down here, these are all of the keywords that Google has come up with based upon the 3. And you see we have, 1,400 here. So there is a lot of data and keywords to go through. And this is why you really only want to start with 2 or 3. Otherwise, you're going to have this long list and we're going to be here all day trying to analyze things. And speaking of analysis, let's go ahead and take a look at this diagram to help us understand which keywords to focus on, because it's very easy to get sucked into all this data and all these potential keywords and forget why we're actually doing it. And we really want to make sure that we're choosing the right kinds of keywords that are going to get us the right kinds of visitors and customers. So looking at it here, there are 2 steps to this. First, we're going to look at the user, and then we're going to look at you. So for the user, there are 2 questions. Number 1, user intent. Why is someone typing in a search result in the first place? They're looking to solve a problem. Simply, that's why they're going to Google. Their life isn't complete until they get this problem solved. Their preferred method, well, this is where PPC and SEO differs, right? With pay-per-click, you're looking for someone who's going to buy. You want someone who's looking to buy a product or service to solve their problem or fulfill their desire immediately. With SEO keywords, you're targeting people who want to solve their problem, but they're looking to just learn more, obtain information. This is where writing reviews or creating in-depth tutorials are helpful to educating a potential buyer. Whereas keywords, you immediately want to send them to your e-commerce product page or your services page to generate a lead and get them on the phone. For you, what you want to do is, whether you're PPC or SEO, you want to look at that user intent from your eyes, right? So with PPC, the user intent is to buy a solution. Well, are they looking for your specific solution? With SEO, they're looking to obtain information. Is the information they're looking for relevant to ultimately helping them make a buying decision with whatever your product or services are? For instance, we are a marketing agency, but it wouldn't make any sense for us to make any content about Twitter or target anyone who's looking to hire a Twitter manager because we don't do anything with Twitter. And with the key metrics for PPC, we're going to look at cost per click, and this is just what is our budget. And then SEO, we're going to be looking at competition. Timestamp if you need to come back to this diagram, but this is how we're going to analyze all of our keywords. And it really is this simple. We're just making sure that what the user is looking for and what we ultimately want out of the search result are one in the same. So we'll scroll down here and I'll go through quickly. This is going to be for PPC example. So PPC management agency, Google Ad Manager, lead generation services, these all represent someone who's looking for someone to help manage their pay-per-click campaigns. These are all would be great keywords to try going after for our advertising campaign. But if we go down a little further, we see lead generation. And this keyword, although it has a lot of traffic, is useless to us because we don't know what this person is looking for. PPC agency, we can kind of go out on a limb and say they're probably looking for a pay-per-click agency to help them manage. Why would they be searching for an agency if they weren't interested or at least entertaining the idea of hiring an agency, right? But with lead generation, or if we go down here, B2B lead generation, we don't know. They might be searching that for any number of reasons, and it's not specific enough for us to either write a blog post for or even bid on for pay per click. Now, before we start filtering out these keywords and really dial into the ones we should be looking for, what I do want to point out is if you already have a keyword in your account with your pay per click campaigns, it will let you know. So for here, you can see PPC management company. Apparently it's already in one of my ad groups. So that can help you make sure that you're not doubling up your keywords because it can be hard to keep track of. So we have 1,400 keywords. The best way to filter is to start to zero in on or exclude different phrases. So we'll come in here and we'll go click on keyword text and we'll say keyword text contains. Here I want someone who's looking for an agency, management, or services. So I'm going to jump ahead with all of those. And now that I've added management, agency, and services, my keyword list has gone from 1,400 down to 267. Much more manageable. This means every single keyword that Google's showing us right now either has the word management, agency, or services. And this is a great way for setting up our PPC campaign is now we know that we're much more likely to come across keywords that represent someone who's looking for an agency. And there is a lot of trial and error here, right? So we can go ahead and try taking off agency and we see we only lost 7 keywords. And if we take away management, now we're down to just 101 keywords. So there are a lot of things you can do with the filter. Also, if you come across a keyword that you don't want, for example, in this particular instance, even though it's already filtered out, I would come in here, keyword text, and I would say does not contain, training, courses, or tutorial, right? You need to do this for each individual one that you want to filter out. But these would be types of things we'll get to when we talk about SEO and blog posts. But here, we don't really want those keywords. So I could go ahead and click apply. Here, I think 100 keywords is good. So now let's go ahead and briefly show you what happens when we do the plan overview. Now you can filter, of course, by bids because these numbers can get really scary really fast when you look at something like $52 a click for the top of the page. And this is what the range of what you'd be paying per click. However, I highly recommend focusing in on keywords that have at least 100 or 500 searches per month and really just ignore the bid range because those bid ranges are just estimates. So you can see here, even though we've dialed this in, there are a lot of keywords that are less than 100. Those are probably going to be a waste of time. I'm really just going to focus on these top 4 because appointment setting services, that doesn't really have anything to do with, advertising management, and B2B lead generation services, while it looks good, it only gets 170 searches per month. So I'm probably going to have a campaign that's sitting there doing almost nothing. So this is where I would try and focus with a small budget. You notice the search volumes are very low, but we're being very targeted with what we want. So we're much more likely to get a qualified lead out of these. And the way to do this is we can just go ahead and click. And at the end of this tutorial, I'll go through how to actually create your entire campaign inside of Keyword Planner. And we're just going to click Add to Plan. So it's going to add our keywords And for PPC, this isn't going to apply to SEO. We can go and click on Plan Overview, and Google's going to tell us what we can expect to see in terms of results based upon the keywords we've chosen. And you can click this little down arrow and adjust your budget. So you can adjust the budget up or down. And this is really great, especially if you're on a tight budget and you're trying to figure out, well, if I spend $640 next month, how many clicks and how much am I going to pay for it should I expect? So in this instance, if we spent $640 next month, we'd expect to pay about $4 per click and get 150 clicks. So it's really great to actually scroll down here and see the breakdown of what Google thinks is going to cost for each keyword. So if you see a keyword that's going to be eating up the majority of your budget, like lead generation services is what's eating up the majority of my budget, maybe in this particular instance, I'm going to take off lead generation services because when we're just trying to figure out what keyword's going to work, it doesn't make sense to spend more than half our budget on one keyword. We'd go back and find some other keywords that are in the $150 or $60 range. That way we have more chances to find a great keyword as opposed to investing a lot in one keyword and hoping this keyword really performs for us. Now, I know this may seem simple. However, this is really all it takes to begin to find profitable keywords for your campaign. Use this diagram, make sure that you're really looking for, is the user looking for your product or service specifically, and then use the projection tools once you've chosen keywords to make sure that you're not going to spend too much money on one keyword. We want to get a nice spectrum of keywords to test so that we have more data, and then we'll know in the future, hey, maybe it would be worth trying lead generation services after we already know which one of these works. So I'm going to go back to keyword ideas here, and now we're going to talk about what we would do if we were doing this for SEO. So I'm going to go all the way out. I'm going to click on Keyword Planner again, and let's say we're doing this for SEO. And this is going to be significantly quicker because I actually have a much better way for you to go about doing this, and it's actually really surprising that nobody talks about it. So here, instead of looking for keywords that are around a management agency, we look for keywords of people who just don't know what Google Ads are, or they want to know if Google Ads are good for their business. And this is going to be a lot more subjective, which means we can go, what are Google Ads? Or we could go Google Ads tutorial and Google Ads for business, right? So we're just typing in very general things because we're trying to get a feel for what kind of content could we create for a potential customer or client that could position you as an expert or an authority and help them make a buying decision. And here's why I actually don't like using Google Planner, Keyword Planner, for this type of keyword research, because as you can see, most of these keywords aren't really all that helpful in terms of figuring out what type of content to create. So the only thing that I recommend doing here is coming in here and adding common phrases like how to or what is to see if you can find some diamonds in the rough, and just adding how to and what is. We've gone from 1,500 keywords down to 313. And here we can actually start to get some decent ideas on potential topics that we could create a blog post on. Now, we do want to make sure that the keyword makes sense, like how to do advertisement. Probably not as good as how to set up Google Adwords campaign or how to use Google Adwords effectively. Personally, I really like this keyword, even though it's only getting 40 monthly searches. And this is where we're going to ignore monthly searches for SEO, because even if you do have the ability to see the monthly searches, if you just set up an account, you'll just see a range. These are almost always inevitably off because these are really just focused. This data is for advertisers. It's not for people who are trying to rank organically. And the competition is medium. You want medium or low for your competition. And so how to use AdWords effectively would be a good post, especially if we wanted to educate people on why AdWords was such an effective advertising platform. And it would be a great stepping stone for someone to go from, I don't know if AdWords is for me, to, okay, yeah, maybe I should hire someone to test it out for my business. Now, while typing in how to and what is a great way to kind of filter these results down, and you can see the general competition, medium and low. At the end of the day, this is not designed for SEO. And it actually kind of drives me nuts that so many people try and use this for SEO. This data should be taken with a grain of salt for finding keywords for your SEO strategy. The best way to find keywords for your SEO strategy and the best way to come up with blog post ideas is the Google search box. I know I'm going to get some hate in the comments here. I know it seems super basic. I know it's not sexy, but this is going to be your most effective way to find great keywords. So for example, I'm going to type in Google Ads tutorial and then see what comes up after that. And these would all be keywords that I would want to explore. For example, coming down here, Google Shopping Ads tutorial would be the first one I would actually look at. I mean, these are relatively obvious, but I come in here and say, oh, Google Shopping Ads tutorial. Google's just told me that a Google Shopping Ads tutorial is something people want, just like they want a display ads tutorial. And most of the keyword tools that people are using out there are going to give them these, and they'll give them these as well. But these two are the ones that you really want to look at because they're so specific. So I know that can seem like a bit of a cop-out, but really, this is where most of your SEO research should come from, not from the Google Keyword Planner. But if you insist on using Google Keyword Planner for your SEO, then this would be the best way to do it. Just type in a couple of basic phrases and then go how to or what is, and you'll get the searches that represent people who are looking for information versus trying to buy something. Now I'm going to go out again, and we're going to wrap up here with how to actually create your campaign if you're doing PPC inside of Keyword Planner. And we can actually start creating our campaign right now. So we're going to come in here and click on PPC services. We're going to skip lead generation because we saw that it was going to be way too expensive. And what I recommend is no more than 5 keywords in one ad group. And the keywords need to be very compact. So if we had more than 4 keywords, I would actually put PPC services, PPC management services in the same ad group, because management is just a extra descriptor to the core keyword that is PPC services. For this particular example, we're going to get nice and granular. So I'm going to create a new ad group and just name the ad group the keyword, and then we're going to click on the type. For here, we want exact match and phrase match. So I'm actually going to do both here, exact match, and then click add to plan. So it's added the keywords to our plan, and now we can see it's in our plan. But I'm going to go ahead and click on it again, and I'm going to make sure I'm still on PPC services. We did exact match. Now we're going to do phrase match, and I'm going to add to plan. So I'm going to make sure that I have an exact match and a phrase match for each one of my ad groups. So I'm going to come down here and do the exact same thing again. The difference is I'm going to create a new ad group. So this is going to be PPC management services. I'm going to create. We're going to do exact match, and I'm going to add it to the plan. And then I'll come and just click on it one more time, make sure I'm on the correct ad group that I just made. And now I'm going to select phrase match, and I'm going to click add to plan. And we'll go down the list and we'll do this. I'll just do this one more time, and we'll create ad group, shorten management because the name will get way too long. And then we'll go ahead and click exact match, add to plan. And then we can go ahead and come in here, do the exact same thing, and do phrase match and add to plan. And this will be important in terms of making sure that we don't use broad and we don't waste our valuable ad dollars. So we have 3 ad groups that we just set up. The other cool thing is we're going to come down here, appointment services. We don't want this keyword. For some reason, Google put this keyword with these other keywords, so we don't want anyone who is searching for appointment services. So we can come over here to more options, add as negative keyword, and add as exact match. And you'll see now it's a negative keyword, and we can actually go down and do this for other keywords that we know we don't want to show up for, like telesale services in India, and maybe we don't want anything specific like healthcare or contractor. We're just having a general landing page, so we can just go in here and click exact, and now we have some keywords. Keywords are a great way to make sure that you're not showing up for phrases that just have nothing to do with what you need. Now we can go ahead and click on our plan overview here, and we can see our projections. Of course, we can play with our budget again. The difference is this time when we click on ad groups, we're actually going to be able to see our ad groups. We can change how much we're willing to pay per click, and then we can also go in and take a look at our individual keywords and modify how much we're going to pay for each one of our keywords. The other thing we want to do is double check locations, right? So if you're targeting specific areas, make sure that that targeting is corrected here, because these settings are going to be ported over when you create your plan. So we can go ahead and click create our campaign, give our campaign a name, set your daily custom budget, click save, and now all that's left to do is to create some ads, which if you want to know how to make ads, go ahead and check out the comprehensive Google Ads tutorial in the description, and that will go over how to actually write your ads. But when you click create ads, you'll be taken to this page. You'll select the ad group that you want, and then you'll go ahead and start writing in all of your ads.
And that's all there is to it to finding your most profitable keywords with Google Keyword Planner. So thank you so much for watching. If you got some value out of this video, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe for more digital marketing tactics and strategies just like the ones covered in this video. If you are new to Google AdWords, make sure you check out the link in the description to a full video on how to set up your first campaign. And if you're doing SEO and blogs, make sure you get Google Analytics installed properly on your WordPress site. Link in the description to that tutorial as well. So go ahead and hit that like button, comment below if you have any questions, subscribe if you got some value, and as always, keep building the business you love.